So I just want to go over some best practices for phone and online safety. First of all, neither the IRS nor Social Security will probably ever call you. Um, and then no government agency will ever call you about Social Security fraud. And then most companies will never call or text to report fraud other than maybe a credit card company or a banks. And I would be really cautious if I get a text or a call about that. I would assume that it is not your credit card company. I would call back in on the phone number on your credit card, or you know, go to your bank statement or whatever. But I would never call the phone number in the email nor the text, because my assumption is it's fraud and it's not really, the bank or the credit card. Also, Amazon will never call you or text you about someone trying to buy something. That's a scam. You, uh, if they ask you for buy some gift cards, and we'll stop this thing. Yeah, go ahead and hang up. And if you get a text, just ignore it. I mean, they want you to basically buy some gift cards, scratch it off the numbers, and then take a pic and send it to them. And then at that point, your money is gone. And then a lot of your scam calls will probably come on your home phone number. Um, I wouldn't trust any name on it nor the phone number, because that can all be manipulated. And then nothing, from a banking or monetary thing can be fixed by allowing a complete stranger to remote into your PC or phone. Um, yeah, I mean, most of us are lazy and will save passwords in our web browsers. And if someone gets into there, they can turn off your screen so you can't even see what they're doing. And then they can open up the website, go to your bank, and transfer money out. And once that money is gone, it's gone. And same thing could be done on your phone. Um, so never someone calls and says, "Hey, go to your app store and install this so we can fix whatever." That's a really bad idea, because they can get into your bank app and boom, your money's gone. And then I get questions all the time about VPN. Will that, secure me? No, not really, because unless you go private window, all your same information is still going out. You're coming from a different IP address, but you're still using the same browser, and Google and whoever else can track you. So it's worthless to pay for the VPN. Best browser, I think, is the Brave browser, because if you look, you can do new private window and then new private window with Tor. Tor is a VPN. If you were concerned about security, then you always need to do a private window. That is the most secure, because it doesn't present your normal stuff to the world. So, and then also it blocks a lot of ads. I wouldn't sign up for the Brave Rewards, because that ties your information to you. So don't do that. This is a new one for Android devices, and it's it's this is just an example. QR code. It was a legitimate application that was installed from um, the Android store, but then it tries to do an update. It's an add-on, and then it wants to do view and control screen. That's a really bad idea, because now they can watch everything you do. And then they also want to do view and perform actions. That's even worse, because now they not only can capture everything you're doing, but they can also do keystroke loggers, which is capturing everything you do. And that's a really bad idea. So anytime you see something like that, that is a definitely deny. Now, email, you got to be really cautious on email. And the name can be um, created by anybody. So, just because I'm not Bill whatever, I can still put my email as that. So you always have to look at the email address really closely. I mean, to the letter. especially if there's attachments or any kind of URL or something to click on. You really want to look at that. And then if you don't recognize the email address, delete the email. And if it's, if you honestly, I would if you're not quite sure if you trust it or not, I would open it on my iPhone. Because I haven't heard of anything been able to infect the iPhone. I wouldn't do it on the Android. Um, and then if you really want to do it and you open it and it says, "Hey, enable macros," stop right there and just delete the email and everything. Don't enable the macros. If you do, it's very likely it's malicious. Also, if there's a link to click on, just move your mouse over it and just let it, because it'll show you where it's going. Just because it says it's going to Microsoft doesn't mean it's going to Microsoft. Passwords. I highly recommend a password manager. Um, I personally use Security Keeper, and it's a really good one. I definitely wouldn't save your password in your browser, because if someone gets into your PC and you've saved your bank password, now they can get right into it. Also, I wouldn't sync your password to Google, because if Google gets hacked, you know, you've lost all your password. I mean, somebody else has your passwords. Also, if you sync your passwords at work and you go home, well, if your home is not as secured as your office, now someone else has those passwords. I would also use a different password on really everything, but especially anything to do with banking or credit cards or anything, because I got to assume, that any website you go to that creates an account is going to be hacked. You may not hear about it for a while, but it's been hacked. And then the other thing too is I wouldn't really use my real info for security questions, because if you use Facebook or Twitter or any of those things, all that information is out there more than likely, and it can be scraped. And so I would make up stuff, but that's why you got to have a password manager, because you won't remember. And then I wouldn't save your passwords, into a file on your PC, because here's an example of a phishing email. So this is where you have to look at the name, and that Outlook is not going to send any emails out, and then you have to look at the actual address. And if this is supposed to be coming from Microsoft, that ain't a Microsoft name. So right there, I would just stop and delete that email. And then if you really wanted to go make sure, then you would hover over this and see where it's going, and you see it's going to not Microsoft. So that's another example of just delete the email. Don't feel like you have to click on it, because they're asking for password information is way to see what that's doing. So you've got to look at the address and it always hover over the link. And if it's not matching, I wouldn't open it. And in closing, I'd be very cautious on what information you give out if someone calls. Definitely no social. If someone's calling in, no street address. Don't give any identifying information, because they're all trying to do fraud against you. And same thing with, emails or things. Hey, I've shared a document with you. Click here. It's like, here's a Dropbox one, but then it asks you for some other password. Just be very cautious on what you do, and best of luck to you.